Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Riffhard podcast. My guest today is Coti Zelati. I know I probably butchered that. From the band Lacuna Coil, who have a brand new album, Sleepless Empire, comes out February, let me make sure I get the date right, February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2025. And you're going to hear in the beginning of the podcast that I introduced it as the URM podcast. And the reason is that I was debating if this should be Riffhard or URM, and in the end, I decided Riffhard because it was a more musician-oriented episode. But this is a cool one because it basically is a look into what I've been saying about what the modern role of a modern band member is, who involves production and involves multiple instruments and involves working with multiple different people, almost like a producer, but not a producer, a band member who becomes a producer. To me, that's kind of where every band is headed. That's not to say that great producers, third-party producers are on the way out. Nothing like that. I just think that the template for people like Marco, who is old school, or like Buster Otoholm, who's new school, like, you're going to see more and more of that. And I think regardless of what generation you're from, learning as much as you can about the tools you're working with and being open to new technology and modernizing, it's always a good thing. So this is a fun episode, and I just love Italian accents anyways. I could listen to them all day. So here goes. Marky, welcome to the URM podcast.
Thank you. How's it going, buddy? Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well. So it's interesting to me what you do in your band, because I kind of feel like in the modern day, what to me, the definition of a producer or a musician isn't what it used to be, where it was you get really good at an instrument and that's all you do. I think that nowadays the definition is much more wide, to where you have to know a little bit of production, you have to know a little bit about a few different instruments, like some songwriting, and every single band has one or more members who can do all those things now. Whereas back in old days, it was rare to find a band that had one person who could do many things.
Right, that's true. In the past, it was a practice room, a play together, make music, and go.
Yeah. Was this something that developed for you over the years, or were you always, even back into the old days, always doing lots of different things?
Honestly, when I would start to use the computer, I basically start to work by myself at home. It was easy. At least it's easier to show to the other band members what you have in your mind, instead of go in the practice room, try to explain them, and then try to find a core, something that everybody has in common to create something, And that's is a good thing about the computer. In the other, and after that, obviously, you start to be like a one-man band, and sometimes it is not helpful for the band. But it's not my case, because me, Christian, and Andrea, we really work together after a bit. As a band, it's still a band, even if it's two vocalists and a bass player, but it's still, and we still doing that after 30 years, and that's great.
Well, I know what you mean, though, about with a computer, it's easy to be a one-man band because you can go as far as you want with it. And I think a lot of people do, and then it makes it a little bit, if you're not taking into consideration what might change or what other people are going to do, is kind of hard sometimes for people. So I think it's good to have both perspectives. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh,
Sorry,
sorry,
go ahead.
sorry. No, I used the computer as I was using in the beginning, the for tracks to record in
Yeah.
analog. Excel the same. I adjust the multi-tracks, but I'm not really good in using plugin or using stuff. For example, my guitar sound, the one I use. Okay, now I have Neural and I use Neural, but before that, I was just opening the internal plugin. I use Logic. And with the mixer do my sound and the distortion is a very old school way, and as far I have one guitar, clean guitar, one distorted guitar, one good bass sound, then I do the drum and the keyboard, everything with the synth, and done. So to me, the good things it will come out in studio after when we go to record the album. It's still a pre-production for me. And now most of the people with the computer, they just send you the demo and it sounds already like an album mastering, completely full perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not using that in that way. I'm not, I don't even know how to do it, I have just more than 4 tracks now to use and I'm happy because I can do layers and layers of keyboard and violins and strings. That's stuff that I really like to use on my music since the beginning. And that's it. So it's a good approach to me having the computer, but I don't know how to say that. I don't speak English very well.
English is great.
I don't know how to. I mean, I could use it way better, but to me, it's enough what I do with that because I really like to play and work on these in a second moment when we are on studio recording the album, not in the pre-production.
Yeah. And I think that's wise because I'm sure you've experienced this. I've experienced it, and so many people I know have experienced it, is when you're working on the demo and you do something on the demo that's really cool, you really like it, and then you try to remake it in the studio and you can never... You
have the same result. Yeah, it's gone. Or you can keep it from the demo.
Well, if you make nowadays, if you make the demo good enough, you can keep it from the demo. But I think that the philosophy of using the demo for pure just writing,
yes, excellent,
limiting it enough to where you're not going crazy, but you're still doing all the essential writing so that those moments can happen when you can capture them properly. All right. Before we get back to this episode, I want to take a minute to talk about Riffhard, riffhard.com, not the Riffhard podcast, because this podcast is actually tied to our online school, Riffhard. And if you're new here, it's the world's best online school for modern metal guitarists. We've got hundreds of lessons from guitar players such as Javier Reyes, Jason Richardson, Wes Hawk, Dan Sugarman, Miles Dimitri Baker. Man, I could just keep on going on. Aaron Marshall from Intervals, Mike Stringer of Spirit Box. I'm reading now because I don't want to leave anybody off. Dean Lamb of Arcspire. It just goes on and on. It's like all the best of the best. And you get tons more than just lessons with them. You get instant access when you join, but there's also all kinds of challenges. Like once a month, we do something like 10-day down picking challenge or a 10-day tremolo picking challenge or a 10-day alternate picking challenge where we really guide you through the lessons and make sure that everybody is getting better. We're not just giving you these videos and sending you out into the wilderness to fend for yourself. We are right there with you. We also do 6 songwriting challenges. Like we have a monthly one called King of the Riff, where we give you a brief, like write a Spartan war anthem or write a technical death metal song with like some criteria. And there's prizes that include guitars and cables and all kinds of cool gear. And we also have private Facebook and Discord communities of like-minded and supportive people, no assholes. That's really, really important to include. Now, with Riffhard, you also get a subscription to Nail the Mix. They live under the same site. So in Nail the Mix, you get to learn how to mix metal. You also get access to Buster Otoholm's Beginner's Guide to Recording Metal. So if you're just playing guitar and trying to record yourself, you have a band and you want to make demos for your band members, or you want to make your own demos, but you just can't get them to sound anything but garbage, or you just can't get past the starting gate, it's too complicated, we've got you covered. Buster Otoholm will show you how to do it. And also, if you want to take it further and actually learn how to mix, there's no place better than Nail the Mix over at URM Academy. And that's all included with Riffhard subscription. All right, so if that sounds interesting, you want to check it out, go to riffhard.com. I'll see you there. And let's get back into this episode.
And it's fun because sometimes when you talk with other friends, or when I talk with my drummer or my guitar player, that they're really good in that. They really know. They are younger, way younger than me, Chris and Andrea. So, and they know how to use computer and do everything with that. They spend hours and hours just to find a snare sound. And honestly, I don't care about it. It's just the drum sounds good enough for me. That's the drum part. Then we will work on the sound when we go in studio and record the real drum, And they really care about having the demo that sounds already perfect. So they spend maybe hours just to make it a snare, and to me it's not necessary in this moment, of this specific moment of the writing session,
You're focused on the actual writing.
Yes, and that's it. To me, it's all about the writing and the notes. Basically, let's say the notes. What happens in the back, and not about the sound. And now, really, a lot of bands they just care a lot about the sound, especially with the synths. Uh, a new
It's
synth
fun.
comes out. It sounds awesome. They put the synths, and then they put bam, 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 bam on the bottom. Done. I mean, I like it, but it's not what I used to do, and not what I'm doing, in the last 30 years. So it is, it helps in a way, but in the other hand, everything that sounds the same at the end, and
Well,
I'm not crazy about that.
the thing is, I know several great mixers and great producers who that's kind of the path that they took, which is, it's a path that it's new. It's like it didn't exist 30 years ago. It didn't even exist like 15 years ago. It's something that has really started to happen in the past 10 years, where you have a musician who is kind of like a one-man band, or the person in the band who like writes everything and like records everything, and then brings the vocalist in, maybe, or maybe they are the vocalist, but they also get really good at production and mixing, and the music they make starts to sound more and more awesome, and more people start following them, not just for their band, but also for their production. Like Buster Otoholm from Humanity's Last Breath and Viljarda. That's a good example of what we're talking about. He is a musician who he's from that generation who basically taught himself how to do it in his bedroom, and just got awesome at it. And it's so that's kind of a very modern path that that didn't exist once upon a time. It's like a new way of making it work.
It's even a good way to save money, actually.
That too.
Yeah, I mean, I started to produce
for sure.
I started to produce my band after. Obviously, I learned a lot from Valdemar, from Don Gilmore, from Jay Baumgartner, and other people I worked with. But when I started to produce the band, the main thing it was saving money. So that's saving money. And what I like to do, the last album we made with a producer, with a big name producer, it didn't really change anything on the album because it was say, "Oh, good, you learn enough." I think, thank you. We will never stop to learn, obviously, from people, but sometimes you have to try. And I did it, and actually, I produced the last 4 albums, and it works. And without, I mean, I don't know. I even if I write the music, I find the parts. I'm a good mixer as well, actually, even if it's not my job. I always prefer to give this to other people and mix that, and give that to other people and do master, because it's a different point of view, and it gives you some different and fresh input, and it's always better than do everything by yourself. So this is my idea, and this is what I like to do. And I produced the last album, and I never say keep my mix. I work with a mixing guy, definitely. Fix this one, fix that one. What it is in my mind, he can bring it to me, but in the same time, in the same time, he work in his way. I choose that guy because I like the way he mix. For example, with the new album, Sleepless Empire, and I mixed it with a friend of mine. Actually, I know him. He's a friend of ours. He does completely different type of music since 20 years. And I chose him because he comes from greencore, techno, and brutal death music. And
Who
I
is it?
always and is called Orchid, and he always um, really like to push in extreme way. He is even a sound guy live, and he does a metalcore band or a punk band or
Hmm.
hardcore band. So it's very different from people who usually mix the goth metal music. He has a different approach, and you can feel it on the album, because when I do my mix for the premix, when I bring my songs to them, to the other guy to listen it. You feel it with what you have in your mind, the approach, the guitar, it depends where you put the guitar and the drums, and you have the vibe. Oh, this is gotta sound more metal. This is gotta sounds more mellow or more atmospheric. The last album, it was very more metal. I say Orchid is perfect because he like to push the guitar as much he can.
Hmm.
He like to do go and distortion and saturate everything, and that's the way I like it. So I say, well, let's do it with him. Maybe is not a master or monster like other guys, but that way he does on purpose. It sounds hardcore to me, and that's what I
Yeah.
want, and I like it.
I think it's
That's
important to pick who you go with very, very wisely. Like, okay, one thing that always used to happen to me when
yeah,
I was mixing bands a long time ago, and it happens to mixers all the time, is they go to
yeah.
one person and they say, we want a record that sounds like this other person's work.
Why
It's
you
like,
don't
well,
go to the other
yeah, well,
person?
exactly. So it'll be better if you go to the other person. If you want it to sound like Kurt Ballou or Will Putney, go to Kurt Ballou or Will Putney, but don't go to Jens Bogren and ask them to make it sound like Will Putney. It's just
Ex-
not it,
Absolutely agree with
it
you.
it's just not a smart decision. They're both great, but
Yeah,
it's not the most efficient way of going about things. So I think that it's really, really important to really take time to think about what you want out of a
yes,
mix, and then pick someone who's compatible with
yeah.
that.
Okay. And another thing, I never be happy at the first time. I mean, you listen to the first thing, it sounds good, yes, but we can do it better.
Hmm.
You always, that's a good way. I saw bands that just say, okay, I'm working with that producer or that guitar player or that sound guy. I like the way he work. He does this mix, and they say, good, but you like it or not? Because you need to like it. It doesn't have to be just good because he made it and you like his name. Do you really like it? That's what you want. And most of it, sometimes, not most of the time, they say, no, actually, I would prefer it with more guitar. So why you didn't change it? It's your product. So deal with the sound guy. The sound guy is not a machine. If you talk
Yeah.
to him, you can, oh, you want more guitar? Okay. And then he will explain everything. No? You know it better than me. You are a sound guy. If you put up the guitar, everything fucked up. So you need to work it. But that's the way how to build up a new mix, a new sound. That's something actually different than the mass. And
Totally.
what I like. I mean, I'm not saying that the Sleepless Empire sounds different than all the other album. Is a
It
metal
has its
album.
own sound.
But yeah, I feel my sound. I feel I, for example, compared to the other albums, I really feel all the instrument and all the parts I made. I do a lot of layers with synths, and with a long time ago it was two guitars. We used to have two guitarists. Now we have just one, so I replace one guitar with synths. But when I compose the music, I always do three, four guitars because I still love to work in that way. And a guitar, it sounds better than a synth to me, always. And but better, different. And when
Better.
you,
Better.
but when you listen the final result, and can feel maybe just you because you made it, but you can feel all the layers and all the notes, all the harmonies. You made it. To me, that's a perfect song, you know. But
Yeah,
maybe not everybody can get that, you know. Maybe somebody just say, "Oh, the voice is too low, is too much into the mix. I don't like it." Yeah, but you can feel all the rest, and usually you don't feel anything. You just feel the drum and the voice. That's what you want. No, that's what I don't want. That, you know, I
well,
want to
well,
feel all the stuff I compose.
I was having this conversation actually with Devin Townsend,
That's my God.
because the
That's
reason
my God.
the reason I bring him up is because his music has. I was just thinking about him with you. What you were just describing is he has so many different layers, and he's worked with like every
He's
single.
he's my master. So
He's great, but he's worked with like every mixer, like
yeah,
he always he even though he gets really great results with them, like
yeah.
objectively great, like you can hear what he's done with them, and they are great mixes, but they're not the mixes he wanted. And you know, like it's one of those things where you can't expect another human to understand what you have in your own head. Like,
Exactly. That's true.
yeah,
But sometimes you can find, for example, I do with David because he's always been my favorite composer ever.
hmm
And I love him since day one. And it was my inspiration. Actually, he wants to produce our album in like 20 years ago. And our label say, no, it's too crazy for you guys. And I say, wow, the fuck. Yeah, but I mean, I learned a lot from him. You know, obviously, I'm not a guitar player great as him or singer as him, but the way he built up the music with all these layers, they came from him, from Type O Negative, and from all the band I was listening. But mainly is from the 1000. Even the way he used the guitars and the core with all the synths, bop in the back, that give you that like. I don't know how to explain. Every chords for him, it sounds like a massive, whatever. I don't
it's
know how
like
to
a
explain
wall.
it in English.
It's like a
Exactly. Is
wall
this
of
kind of
sound.
wall of sound that is the only one he has it. You know, other people has a wall of sound just with the guitars, with synths, but the way he made it, is different because he used a
Well,
lot of orchestra as well, you know?
well, that's actually
And
kind of my point. Is if Devin would get it because he's a composer like that, but like if you go to like a mixer who is not a genius writer, they're just a great mixer, and you give
yeah,
them something with like 300 layers, and
mm,
it's like you
it's a
just
challenge.
here it is, mix it. They're going to give you something back that might be a good mix, but it's, you know, you're like playing the lottery to see if it's the right mix, because they have to guess what you want. You give
What
them
do you
something
want?
very very
Exactly.
complicated, and there's a million ways to mix it.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they really choose what for them is the main thing, you know.
Yep.
So it's special. For example, when we work with J. Baumgartner, he's a great mix guy. He does stuff for radio, but he does let's say simple music, you know, more music
hmm
with drum, bass, guitar, and voice. Perfect, you know. But when you open my file and you file 35, 40 layers of synths, do all the harmonies, all the strings, all the orchestra, you know, I put in the back. Is a challenge to mix everything. And then when you end the mix, let people feel every notes you made. It's almost impossible. That's why you don't really need to choose the right person, or sometimes you just need to sit down with this guy and work with him. You know, not just okay, you are a great mix guy, do everything you want. No, just sit down with it and okay, I did 3 layers of synths, of strings. That made that strings that the violins, the melody it does, the violin is the main thing I want to listen in that part. Can you put me up that one? And you work with that, and then maybe you have a good result, even if the mix guy is not perfect for your type of music. But you need to work with it, you know.
communication.
Communication, yeah.
Goes a long way. I just had Jens just mixed my band's last record, and it has a lot of layers also. And I was like coming up with how am I going to approach this to where he's happy and I also don't make him crazy, but we get what we want. And I know that Ishan had just been there, so I like talked to him about it. I was like, your stuff is also crazy, and you just went with Jens, and it sounds amazing, and all the crazy elements are loud. Like, I know that what you wanted is loud. I know that's not what Jens wanted. I know that's what you wanted. So I asked him how did you approach that communications wise? He said, just say what you want and don't back down. Basically,
Okay.
Yeah, because Jens is where he is in life because he has a very strong viewpoint on what things should be like, and he's right. His stuff sounds great, but
and that's the way.
Yeah, but you might have to get him to, divert from his viewpoint a little bit if you do something non-traditional. But the thing is, he'll do it. But you have to communicate.
You have to communicate. But it's always like that. Communication makes everything.
Because nobody's psychic.
Exactly.
Yeah, the thing that you were saying about if you go to like the kind of mixer who does mostly simple music, you kind of know what you're going to get. They're probably going to take the guitars, the drums, the bass, and the vocals, and make it like a rock mix, and it'll probably be a really good mix, but probably not the right mix. And it's hard sometimes to it's hard to get some of those guys to understand what you need, because sometimes they're not willing to trade. You have to compromise some power sometimes.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So but if you turn the guitars down, sometimes you're going to lose a little bit of size. You're going to lose a little bit of power. And so you have to make compromises. And sometimes those dudes are not willing to compromise on, it has to be like full on the whole time. So that's why also I think it's important to make a really good choice with who you go with. It's like, how much are they willing to compromise on?
Absolutely.
Like how loud the guitars are going to be, for instance.
When is the guitar pro? Well, I have another problem, because people feel my bass live every time and say, wow, that's a great tone. I want to keep that tone on the album because it's you, But I'm the first one, actually. It is my instrument and it's my bass sound. If it doesn't work on the mix, why you want to keep it? Just because it's my sound? I don't agree with that, Just put it around bass. It feels great. It push up everything. The main thing and important thing in our music, it's still the voice. It's not the music. We are not periphery. We are not monuments. We are Lacuna Coil. We make music for people who love to listen music. That's when we make melodic songs, heavy songs live, but it's all about the atmosphere and the melody, So sometimes you have to deal with that. So if it doesn't fit, even if it's good sounds, forget about it and do a normal bass sound and have the best result for the mix. And sometimes this is not easy, but sometimes happen that when if the guitar player is the songwriter and the composer and the mixer of the band, he want to push up the guitar, because he cares just about that. And I never been like that, probably because I never studied music in my life. I always enjoy music a lot, but I really never thought only about my instrument or the single instrument, as everything has to be one thing, to me, and roll perfect. Especially in our type of music. So
when you think about music, do you think about it from the perspective of a bass player or
no?
Okay.
Perspective for the fan, or just Yeah, I never ever thought about the bass. I mean, I started as a guitar player. I was a player guitar in the beginning, and then I changed with the bass because we were looking for a guitar a bass player. And nobody was playing bass, So I changed it. But then for example, I always start to make music starting from the drums most of the time, or the keyboards, And but I'm not a great keyboard player. I just like music. I don't know why. I don't honestly, I don't know why. I was a chef. That was my job, not musician. And I always loved music because my father was a musician, and I I grew up in the music with every type of music and all the instrument around me. I play everything very bad, nothing very good, but I like to compose. I don't know, and this is the result. Probably this is the reason why I always take care more about the final result of the full music, the whole instrument together, and not the single instrument. Otherwise, probably I was doing brain theater of music. Probably,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
you get what you work on the most, right? Like
Yeah.
if you sit there and you practice 12
Oh,
hours a day
yeah,
and you go to music school and
yeah,
like say that you like over the course of 10 years you
yeah.
spent 80% of your time practicing technique and like 20% of the time writing versus if you had spent 95% of the time writing and 5% playing, like those are the same person will end up in two completely different
Completely different ways.
places.
It's true, absolutely true. Yeah. I'm the 95% of doing nothing. I mean, I'm that type of guy. I mean, I really like to write music. I love to write music and listen to music, any type of music. But man, yeah, if I have to choose about grab a guitar and practicing, or go in the kitchen and grab a knife and make food, I will choose the other one. And it's weird for a musician, but it's the truth. So
No,
probably
that's
the
it's great to know that though, and to be comfortable with it, and then find the way that it works for you. Because I think a lot of people they're not comfortable with themselves. Like they want, they have this idea in their head of they want to be Jason Richardson or something. They want that result
yeah,
in their fantasy, but in real life, day to day, they don't actually want to sit there and practice that
yeah,
much. They just don't want to, and
yeah,
they don't have the passion for it. They have the passion for other things. But I think that it's really, really good if you understand about yourself. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not interested in that. I am interested in this. I am
yeah.
interested in writing. I'm not the virtuoso. I don't
Excel.
care. This is what I do. And then you work with other people who are interested in the other side of it. I think that's the
Excel.
healthiest way to do it.
Right. And that's my story. That's what I like to do. And I will never stop, at least. I mean, so far at the moment.
Well, I think that the sooner that you can find out, I'm thinking I'm like talking to young producers and young musicians now, but the sooner that you can find out what it is that you're willing to do for like 10 hours a day,
Yeah.
you don't feel like it's work, or you don't feel like, like with practice, if you're like, oh fuck, I don't want to practice today, and then you hate
Yeah.
it the whole time or something like that. Like, what if that's how you feel every single time you sit down to do something?
No.
Maybe that's a message that maybe it's the wrong thing.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that it always is going to feel fun, but there should the amount of work it takes to be successful in music, you have to pick something that you will be able to sit there for 10 years or 15 years and just do it with passion.
Exactly. Absolutely agree with you.
Good. I like it when people I like it when people agree with me. So I have a
Absolutely.
question about writing for vocals.
Yes.
Um, so you say you did not study music. You approach it from a
Mm.
fan perspective,
Yes.
and but you're writing basically for great vocals. Like that's the end at the end of the day. So how do you work out the stuff involving key signatures and working within like Christina's range and all that stuff that, I mean,
Oh,
you don't
that's
have
what
to know music theory for it, but a lot of people use music theory for that kind of stuff.
I don't really use. I mean, I just go. I mean, I told you, me, Christine, and Andrea, we always work together. So
Hmm.
it's kind of be a, like one person in three, split in three, and
Got it.
they know the way I work. I know the way they work. I know their limits. I know their range, obviously, but there are two different range, Andrea and Christina. So it's not easy to find a good range in the song to help Christina or help Andrea, you know. But now, as far Andrea is rolling more, you know, and singing less, it's much easier because I can stay on Christina's range and range. I don't know, it's a range and a range, and sorry, and
They both work.
okay, and Andrea is more comfy, growing, so it doesn't. It's not a big deal now, you know. In the past, when we used to having Andrea and Christina sing clean, it was more complicated because sometimes to help Andrea and stay on his range for Christina was too low, so it was hard to for her to see. I mean, honestly she's really a great singer,
Oh yeah.
but you know, when she's more comfortable, it's better, you know. Or even if I can make music just for her, for example, and I stay on her range. Their voice is always full, you know, and that sounds better than a tiny voice because she need to go too much higher, you know. Even if she reached that note, the voice gets thin, you know. You know
Mhm.
that stuff better than me. It's not easy to me to explain that in English, you know.
You're
But
doing great,
you got it, you know.
dude.
So
Your English is great.
and sometimes she's not happy about it because come on, I would love to have it oh, and have the full note bigger, you know. And they say, yeah, but if you want to do that, we need to go down a tone and tone and a half, you know.
Hmm.
And then all the rest is gonna all that decision is gonna mess up everything, you know. That's because Christina and Red, they don't play any instrument. If they were playing a keyboard, you know, it's easier because if they bring me vocal lines with a basic on the keyboard, so I start to write music on that key, you know. Right? As far they don't do that, most of the time I bring music, I bring vocal lines as well, you know. I sing bad, but I sing as I do everything bad, but I do it, you know. So and I can growl it and sing note. I mean, there is a lot of the side vocals on the album. It's all me, from Never Dawn to and on even in the past I used to do it. You know, I like it. It's fun to me. And but as far I can sing as well, I know how much harder it is to sing on a different key. You know, if it's not your range. So as far as 30 years now that we work together, we just found the equilibrium,
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
balance, you know, of everything. And it's fun because even Christina, she's complaining about, I know that you write this music and the new album is gonna be all medias going super higher, and during the live show, I'll be die every night, you know. But at the end,
Hmm.
when we try to do something different, she is the first one that always go back to the but it sounds better if we do it. Ba, 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 ba. See? So that's you want to see higher because it sounds better, you know. And then it's gonna be bad. But she never do mistake live as well. But it's gonna be harder on the live shows. But at the end, she doesn't care because when she have that result that it sounds good, she always say why we need to go back to a more comfy zone that it doesn't sound good as the one I sing it higher, you know. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
It's in
I
my
do.
brain.
And I'm just thinking about how, one of the first things uh, that I learned about working with vocalists, like as a
Mm,
producer, if a band comes in and they have a clean vocalist,
mm,
uh, if you're allowed to fuck with the songs, because sometimes bands want a producer to fuck with the songs, sometimes they
yeah.
don't.
They don't, yeah.
You just have to know you have to know what the situation is. But if it's a situation where they do want the input and you have a clean vocalist, I mean, that's one of the first things that you check is the key ranges, because sometimes bands will write stuff that's just in a bad, uncomfortable range for the vocalist. The vocalist, they'll demo it and they won't say anything because they're good. They're on the team and they're trying. They don't want to disappoint anybody. But if they just moved it down like 2 tones, it would be perfect. But it's a decision that has to be made, like you said, because everything has to change around it. But so that's actually one of the first things when, at least when I was producing records, when you're at pre-pro, that's like one of the very first things to make sure is figured out, because
it's the main thing. I mean,
yeah,
it is the most important thing in that case. I mean, you cannot go against the vocalist. I mean, is I mean, in the music, as far is always the main thing, you know, especially in our kind of music. I have that type of problem on this album with some special guests that I will not let you know tell you the name, obviously, but I have those problems. They want to be part of the songs, and then they asked, and I was. "Oh, okay, that's good, but what he wanted to sing in that song is not his range, you know." And then they try it. They say, "Oh, yeah, it's a fucking killer. I like it. And then the result, it was a bad. Oh, can you change the tone? No, I don't. I knew it already, you know, but why you say, yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that. Yeah, I can tell you immediately that it's not your range. When you sing in your band, you sing so much lower than this. Why you want to go there, you know?" And it happens sometimes, most of the time, actually. But I told you, it's not that type of problem I have with Christina, because I mean, we've been together since 30 years now, and we know
each other.
Yeah, we know each other, you know, so that's fine. Sometimes I do change it if she wants to do it just by herself, some parts. I can change the range for her, and she's happy, and that's it. But most of the time, she said, "Oh, don't worry about it. I can do it, whatever." So that's great.
It's interesting to me, a vocalist that doesn't play an instrument. Like, I've always wondered how they, like, how it works in their head.
I mean, I don't know. It's the same thing when I have a friend of mine. They study music and that since day one, and they always say, "Well, you did that thing in your song. You did that thing." I say, "I don't know what I did. I was just playing." You know, "Oh, that's a great thing. I bet that's a minor, whatever."
Yeah,
I don't know,
man.
Yeah, dude, I just like it. It sounds great to me. I grew up with classic music. I love soundtracks. I grew up with Ennio Morricone and all that things. To me, make harmony is easy. I don't know how, but it is. As like Christina, she never studied music or sing in her life, but she sing since day one. It's fun. I have a cassette of Christina. She has a cassette, and when she was 2 years old, singing, I think we have here in Italy, it's called Lo Zecchino d'Oro. I don't know. I don't think you have
Say that again?
Lo Zecchino d'Oro.
Okay.
I mean, it was a show on TV where the kids were going there and sing, you know, but very young kids, like 2, 3 years, 4 or 5 years old, you know. And she has a cassette when she was so young, and she was singing perfectly. So it's something that you have it.
It's just in
then if you study, you can improve it. You can go better, you know, or maybe you change. I don't know. You know, maybe if I was studying music, my way to compose was completely different than what I do. You know, because more technique, maybe going more on where everybody goes. I don't know. Maybe or maybe not. You know, but who knows? We will never discover.
I have a theory.
I'm 50. I am 50 now. I don't want to go back and study music. Honestly, I'm too lazy.
You already did it, and that's my theory. My theory is that theory. You just have different names for it, or think about it differently. Like, so for instance, Mark Holcomb, lead guitar player in Periphery.
I know he's a friend of mine.
He's fucking awesome, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. He doesn't know any theory at all.
Oh, okay.
and you hear him play, you wouldn't know that he doesn't know any theory, right?
Yeah,
Like
no, definitely not.
he sounds like he knows theory, and it's not just because his solos are in key. Like he does like complex chords and
Hmm.
stuff that you would expect that he went to music school or something,
Yeah,
but he didn't.
he did. And
Zero music theory, and I know lots of dudes like that who they. So what I say is they do know it. They just don't know that they know it, or they have their own names for the stuff.
yeah,
But the result, they got the same result because their brain learned how to make music and learned how to understand it. So
yeah.
they didn't have to go to school for it, but they did the work, and clearly they understand how it works.
Oh,
So they
definitely, yes. Absolutely, man.
yeah, so they know theory. They just don't. They don't have the same words for the same things.
Exactly,
So
true. That's
yeah, so
that's
yeah, so if you put them in a school, they might fail a test because they don't know what they call those things in a school. But like in real life, actually making real music,
yeah.
obviously they know their shit.
It's like in Italy. I don't know about in the United States, but in Italy, music school, music in a normal school, it was kind of weird, you know. And most of the class we have or guitar or flute, and it's very sad. You know, you go, you learn the music, and you go learning with the with the
Hmm.
pan flute. And, it's weird, you know. And unfortunately, I have flute, no guitar, you know. And
Oh,
basically, I was just playing everything by orecchio. We say orecchio, using ears,
yeah.
not reading music, you know. And I always had bad result because the teacher just understand, and I was playing good, but I was playing with my mind and not reading the music, you know. So it
Maybe
was
it's a good
always
thing. I think maybe it's a good thing that you didn't get the guitar because it probably doing that started to train your ears and your brain at an early age in a way that guitar doesn't, because guitar is not it is not designed for melody, and it's designed. You can play melodies on guitar,
yeah, yeah,
but
definitely.
guitar is designed for chords and
Words, yeah,
accompaniment. It's not meant as a melodic instrument. So
that's
to
true.
to do something as a kid where in your mind you're developing the ability to hear melodies and reproduce them, even if not well, even if you're not a great flute player, still like starting to build those skills. I would say that you're lucky that that's what you got and not guitar, even though guitar is way cooler.
Yeah, 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 obviously.
Yeah. I mean,
It was easier to bring it at school, you know. It's just a
yeah.
flute, put in the backpack, and that's it, easy. I mean, well, whatever. Uh,
So you were, let me make sure I'm understanding. So
see?
basically you were reading shitty, but you were still playing the stuff well
Oh,
enough for
perfectly.
the
Oh,
teacher
oh
to,
yes, it was like
yeah.
10 to 10. I mean, but the teacher would say, "Yeah, but you're not reading music." "Yes, I do." "No, you didn't turn a fucking page." "I sorry," you know. And you finished the song. I had a good memory, but I always been at home playing with my father, you know, or listening music. That's lucky. I don't know. Or I train good my ear, you know, listening my father and the music. I don't know who knows about that. Honestly, I didn't know.
Probably.
Even when we started, actually, we started just random because we were. Me, Andrea. We know each other since we were very young. Andrea, the male singer, and we were two skaters. And
Hmm.
when it was bad weather outside, we stay home and play stuff, but play with the instrument I had home. Try to make goth metal, and in the end, we were doing punk, hardcore music, very simple, just to have fun, you know, and that's it. And we started that way, you know. Then when I changed the school. I don't know. We call it media superiori. I think is your high school. I don't
High
know.
school. Yeah.
Maybe.
Sounds like it. That sounds like it would be high school. I'm just
Yeah, it
guessing.
sound. When you are 14, actually, in Italy, when you're 14, you go there and you
Yeah.
start from 5 year from 14 to 19 or something
Yeah, that's
similar.
high school.
High school, okay. When I started the high school, I met other guys that were playing, and we made a band, and we started to play cover, But it was just to have fun, because when I stopped at the school, I went to a restaurant and work in the restaurant, and I was always doing music just to have fun. Then one day we had this chance to record a couple of songs during the night with a good deal in a studio. They were doing 2 nights, Sunday and Saturday, Sunday night, with the sound guy, recorded for just 1,000 lira at the time. It was cheap. It's a good chance to do it. And we say, why we don't record a couple of songs? We did it with the first band, Christina. She just arrived, Christina, actually, in the band. We had a different name, different band, and basically we recorded, and then we had a cassette, and we keep that cassette for us because it was like something fun. It was just. And the people listen to that cassette, they say, "Oh, this is great. Why you don't send it to label?" And this is what is the label? Everything came like that, and we sent it to 5, 6 labels, and all of them answer and say yes. Give us other stuff because we like you guys. Okay, good.
Nice
Surprise.
surprise. Yeah.
That was lucky. I don't know what it was, but then we started in that way, and then it became a professional thing. But at the beginning, it was just the people say lucky. Okay, let's say lucky.
Well,
I don't know, but yeah, it was like that. That's the truth. We were not a
there's
band
luck.
play and do shows every day. Try to be a band because I wanna go and play all around the world. No, not at all. It was just to have fun.
It just happened.
Probably it just happened. Probably that's the reason why we're still here after 30 years. We're still friends, and we still love to work each other together. I don't know, maybe.
That's kind of amazing, though, that to think that a band that ended up doing that well just kind of happened kind of like that. I think that the luck part has to do with, like, you met each other, and you happened to go to that studio at that time that they were offering that deal, and whoever recorded you must have been in the right mood to do a good enough job, and then whoever you sent it to, maybe they had just had their morning coffee and were in a good mood or whatever, because what if they listen to it at the end of the day and they're tired and they don't want to hear anything? Like, there's all these little things that
that's true.
you have zero control over that go into is something going well or badly. That, to me, that's the luck, is when you add all those little things up. Like, did I meet the person who offered the record deal, who could offer the record deal? Did their dog die this morning when they listened to my record, or did they just get the best news of their life?
Yeah, true. Absolutely. You don't know. You
don't know.
You don't know. That's true. It's a bad show. That's true.
I'm curious about something. So, your dad was a musician. So you grew up, like, around music. You did the flute.
I mean, it was not a professional musician. He really liked music. We have always had the house full of instruments. He used to play harmonica. That's the name. We call it harmonica bocca. Yes, harmonica, I think.
Harmonica.
Harmonica, and bass guitar and guitar. So, but we have a saxophone, trumpet, violins. We had all the instruments at home, so it was like a big party.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so you grow up around it. You start playing instruments in school. Eventually, you start playing these covers with friends. What I'm curious about is, since you never learned theory, do you, if a note is, like, in the wrong key, or just, like, you're working with someone and they like play a part and it's just a bad note, or like a vocal line and there's just, like, notes that are just how
You
like does it just like it just sounds wrong to you?
wrong.
Like
Just sounds wrong to me on my ears. And it's the same way you do harmonies, and the same way that that's what I was telling you. A friend of mine, all of us, that they are very great musicians. They study musical, they teach music. They say you do these harmonies, and it's not easy. How you can do it if you never study music? And I say I don't know. I feel it. I
'cause
like
it's just
them.
in you.
You know, I just like them. And when there's something wrong, I just feel that is wrong for some reason, or maybe it's not wrong, but I doesn't like it. I don't like it.
Well, you think it's
And
wrong.
but I think it's wrong.
That's I mean,
But
that's
for
what
example,
matters.
I had a good story about this because with one of the as one of the good producer we've worked with in the past, we had the part in a song, and it actually was a special song to me because I wrote that song because a friend of ours, Peter Still died, the typo negative singer,
Hmm.
and the night he died, I wrote that song for him. And there is a part where I go to from minor to major, and then I go back to minor in the chorus. I just took the pre-chorus, basically major.
Hmm.
And when he listened that part, and it told me, "Oh, this is wrong." I just say, "What do you mean is wrong?" Because the flow is going there, and it is then is go major and then go back to minor. Is so what? What's wrong? There's not. I don't feel anything wrong to me. What's the problem? And it was just say, no, we need to change the part. I say, why? I don't know nothing about music, but it sounds great to me. It doesn't sounds out of tune. It doesn't sound weird. Why we have to change it? And then I kept it obviously because I was like a kid. No, I don't want to change it. But I never get that. th- I never get that what he has in his mind in that moment when he said the no is wrong. In the music,
Well,
if you study music, you know better than me that you can go up and down from major to minor to other shit.
yeah.
So,
So this
well,
I've no okay. So this is something I've noticed because I did study music, but I also when I write, I don't use theory.
mm,
Like it's too like I have two different parts of my brain. So if I have to sit down and analyze something or
yeah,
I could do it and like I know my key, I know my shit, but also when I'm writing, like that stuff is just gone. I don't think about it at all. I'm just trying to make something that's awesome. And so
man,
uh
goosebump is part of the music.
yeah,
When you
exactly.
when you make a part and you have goosebump,
Yeah,
who
so
fucking
I've
cares that
had
it's a wrong note? So
so I've had people come up to me, kind of like what you were saying, who are like giving me theoretical analysis of, oh, you did this thing into that thing. Like, I would have never thought to do that because that's just like wrong, but it sounds so cool. It's like, that's because when you're working on theory, you're not working on music, and you need to know that they're two totally different things. Theory is you're learning how to describe it,
yeah,
but you shouldn't confuse theory with music. Like they're two
exactly. But that's what you said. You said it sounds weird, but it sounds good.
sound.
You just
Yeah.
say it sounds wrong. I just say why it sounds wrong. It doesn't sound wrong to me. Even his sound guy, he has a sound guy for because he wasn't doing sound. No,
Well,
it
he
was
said
just
it
doing mine.
sounded wrong, and then he
Yeah.
went and explained it in theory terms, right? So he
And yeah,
probably,
he say major and minor. I didn't know anything about major and minor. I just say his note. I like it. It's open a lot, that part. They go back to the sadness. That's what happened that night to me when I discovered that Pete
yeah,
died. So what? Come on.
yeah. So I think that there's two possibilities. Either
Yeah.
they didn't like it and they were trying to explain why,
Okay.
or they're just thinking with the theory brain, and there's something that wasn't traditional,
Oh.
and because sometimes when people study theory too much, like they put these limits on themselves where because like according to a certain key or certain rules, like this chord doesn't go with this chord progression or whatever,
Yeah.
and and they will limit themselves. And I've noticed the dudes who have come up to me and will start analyzing my music to my face, oftentimes they have a hard time writing because they've studied so much theory that they keep like it stops them because they keep on thinking about rules. They keep on thinking about rules and theory instead of music.
Right.
It's strange.
It is strange, definitely.
Yeah, you have to. I've talked to a few people who know theory, who are good writers, and basically they do the same thing that I do, which is you forget it. Like you just drop it, and then you bring it back if you need it. But
yeah, I mean, the other producer we worked with, actually, it was that type of guy. He was pushing you. "Yeah, it sounds good. Who cares? Make noise or make dissonance when two
Yeah.
notes that doesn't fit together. A kind of make sugar like
Mhm.
that thing. It's wrong, but it sounds cool. Okay." Well, if you do that just on some gap, it sounds great. And this one, it was too straight on the other side. But at the end, I learned a lot from him as well for the simple stuff, because it was for radio, it was more dramas, toom, pan, toom, toom, pa, toom, toom,
Mhm.
done from the beginning to the end. No change. He was already complaining about change, having two voices, two voice, because obviously for the simple people listen music, that's too much, so they just get confused. And I say, okay, I got your point of view, but this is not a single. I wrote this song because a friend of mine is dead and he's on the
Mhm.
album. So just don't go there and say the note is wrong, the flow has to be more smooth. No, this is music.
Mhm.
Then if we want to talk about single, let's talk about single. Let's keep it straight, the point, the four notes, fine.
Mhm.
And actually, I understand his point of view as well, but at the end, that's why I keep it the major note and everything, because he understand my point of view. It's emotional song. It's not a single. Just keep it as this. But he
Yeah.
does mostly songs for radio. That's the reason why maybe it was too much for him. But just even that, don't say it's wrong. Say I don't like it, but no, it's wrong, because it doesn't sound wrong to me. And now actually it's in the album, and nobody say it's wrong.
So it wasn't wrong. So
Again,
artists should always win, in my opinion. Well,
not always, but 99%, let's say, like.
there are wrong notes though. Like there's sometimes I hear it when vocalists will sing like a note that is out of key, and it sounds like you taste something that has like rotten in the fridge. Like I don't know. It's not like when I hear what I consider a wrong note, it's not. I'm not thinking about it in terms of theory. Like it hits me the way that like spoiled food hits me or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just this feeling like that's just wrong. It's
That-
not. It's hard. Like it's
I mean,
out of key. Like it's
exactly. I
bad.
mean, there is a lot of things bad that I like it. Okay.
Mhm.
For example, let's say Korn, Jonathan
yeah.
Davis, when he sing out of tune,
It's fine.
it's fine. Who fucking
Yeah.
cares? It's great the way he's acting. The way he's trasmetti, giving to you the emotion.
Mhm.
So who fucking care if the note is not perfect? That's the real shit. That is something that AA will never replace. For example, if we go to EA, and it's the same thing with David Bowie. Nobody complains about David Bowie was out of tune when he was live. So it depends about what you want, but I mean, not every time something is wrong, it means it's bad.
I would argue that Jonathan Davis being
Yeah.
slightly out of tune or out of key is perfect. It like whatever
is
he
perfect.
does is like people think that perfect means that everything is like perfectly in time and on the grid and
And
in tune.
no.
I think perfect is the perfect part with the perfect performance.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that it delivers the message and the emotion perfectly. Then it's perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so John Davis is the
He's
king of
great.
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely, he's great. At the other end, I love Devin Townsend. This is perfect.
Hmm.
Even live is perfect. He doesn't do one mistake with guitar and voice. But it's two different things, and I love both. That's the point. So
Yeah.
is the emotion they give it to, and music is emotion. I grew up with Black Flag. I don't know if you know Black Flag.
Yeah.
They don't even go in. They don't even go in time. The music. If you listen to the first album, the sequel, or the beginning with the Six Pack song, or those songs, they don't even go in time in between each others. Who fucking cares? I was doing mosh pit when I was a kid with that. I really love it, and I still love it. And so is music. Yeah, music is music. Is emotion. Music is emotion. Is not perfection.
Yeah. It's if it gets the point across, like if it inspires a feeling and communicates the feeling,
Yeah,
that's the part that's perfect, in my opinion.
absolutely agree.
So awesome, man. Well, with that, I think this is a good place to end the podcast. But I want to thank you very much for taking the time in, and it's been a pleasure talking to you.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure to me, mate. Really. Thank you for everything. And I
Thank
hope
you.
to see you again. Absolutely. I mean, we'll be
Yeah,
on tour
likewise.
in March. I don't know where you're from, but we'll be in America
Where in March?
in March from South America, Central America, North America. We're going to be in tour with Machine Head and In Flames in the United States for
I'm I'm
April,
gonna
May.
I'm going to be in Europe on tour in March, but
Okay.
then April, May, you'll be in the U.S., you say?
Yes. Yes.
I'll
We
be in
do.
the U.S., so maybe we meet up
Okay.
there.
Absolutely. That's great.